Good looking stuff at that studio. So excited to be there once the open kicks off. Right now though, we got Vision, Nova, our last game of the preseason. Both of those drafts looking very strong.
A little surprising to see, but he's back on the rise. He hasn't been seen in quite some time. He was super popular weeks 1 and 2, was in almost every game, and then kind of disappeared for a little bit. Finally getting back out there in the hands of Nova. And I mean, this matchup, you look at it on paper, and this should be a very, very close game.
Absolutely. We saw Nova bring Finn into the meta last week against Tribe. It had so much effect. Eco played it so well. They've got it back again today. There are so many combos they can set up. The Forced Accord into the Fearsome Shade. The Forced Accord into the active camos. Forced Accord into Oblivion. So many combos that Nova can set up that can definitely have a huge impact in this game.
Yeah, this is going to be a very fun one. On the other side, you have the Tony, you have the Scarf, the Idris, and Glaive. A lot of burst damage potential for this side, but you know, compositionally, I feel like I like the Nova Esports composition. Just has a lot more tools to be able to win multiple styles of team fights.
Absolutely. Vision is going to have to be able to dive into the backline with the Glaive, with the Idris, with the Tony, and get some picks on these squishier mages if they want to have even remotely a small chance in this game.
Yeah, and we've seen kind of the meta develop over these past few weeks. That's all going to be changing pretty soon as we get into Update 3.3. Update 3.3 is going to be a massive one. We see some of the features that are going to be revealed in 3.3. Ranked leaderboards, experimental joystick controls, the experimental voice chat, the new hero, improved home screen layout, all sorts of features that are just really improving the quality of life experience, and heavily requested features as well being added in.
Absolutely. One of the most requested features has got to be that joystick control. If you're a Vainglory veteran, if you've been around the block, you love the touchscreen controls. That is not going anywhere. It is still 100% optional. The joystick is going to appeal to those players that are more familiar with some of the other mobile options out there, and it's just something that's a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, and it also appeals to players who maybe don't have the MOBA experience in general either. You know, we talked to some of our production guys here at the and they're like, you know, the touch controls just, it doesn't translate well if you aren't familiar with it. So the joystick controls are to bring new players in and cultivate maybe some new talent for you guys to go up against. See Iraqi0, who's very active on social media, and he hasn't touched these yet, nor thought about using them, but he had a dream about using the joystick controls, and he really liked it. I mean, I've gotten to see the joystick controls. They do look very smooth. Again, don't have to use them. If you want to stick with the touch controls, stick with the touch controls. That is not, no one is being forced to adapt to the joystick controls, but it is just going to be an extra option. More options are always better in every single aspect of life. So that is going to be what we have coming up in 3.3. But now as we get ready for this game, we're also going to see a little bit of the stat comparison between these two teams. And you can see on your screen, Nova with the edge in most categories, but not by a large margin.
Very evenly matched teams. Their records are very tight as well. Nova definitely looked like they could have been one of the breakout star teams here in North America with their huge victory over Tribe last week. They certainly elevated their quality of play to all new heights. They want to continue that momentum here this weekend, bringing it into the open season.
I mean, if they get this win, they will have a tied record with Tribe, and because of that head-to-head, they would take that second place finish in the preseason away from Tribe if they can find this victory. So Nova, like you mentioned, definitely looking very strong, but Vision Gaming, if they pick up the win, they leapfrog Nova for that third place spot. So this is about as even as it gets in the Vainglory Premier League Preseason Invitational. So a lot of excitement going into this game. We're going to take a look at some of the players to watch for this matchup. Flash, who are you keeping your eye on?
We have got to be looking at PvP Warrior for the side of Vision. He has had some absolutely stellar performances in some of Vision's wins. His positioning has been very, very good. He absolutely dominated Tilt, going absolutely ham. So much damage, just jumping into the mix with that Rona, making Tilt Rehab pay for their overextended mistakes.
And obviously you can see some of his stats there from the preseason. On the other side of the rise for me, I'm going to be keeping my eyes on Erica Kane from Nova. One of these players that, doesn't really get a lot of recognition, but Erica Kane has been playing a lot of different types of heroes. There's some games where he's playing this Adagio, going full captain, utility type build. Then there's some games where he goes in and just plays a hard carry and ends up just picking up kills and securing kills for the team. A very versatile player, and that's one of the things that is so important in the 5v5 when you're in one of those two side lanes, is having the versatility to fit and adjust what you're going to play to match what your team's composition needs.
Absolutely. He's kind of lived in the shadows of Truth of Light, starting all over to absolutely star-studded players. But in their victory against Tribe last week, he was absolutely phenomenal. Always on point. That one team fight that won them the game, he was absolutely critical.
All right, well, we are ready to get into it. It is our final game of the preseason, and we have Humanist and Scoundrel on the call.
Ladies and gentlemen, Vision Gaming versus Nova Esports. Let's get ready to rumble, blah, blah, blah. I'm Humanist. I'm with Scoundrel. Scoundrel, I hope you are here, because this is going to be a pretty lit matchup.
No, I'm actually not here, Humanist. This is all you now.
Buddy. This is a pre-recorded message from Scoundrel.
Please leave your answer after the tone.
Please tell me how many kills will be happening before the 3-minute mark.
I'm hoping a lot, because I want this to be a hype final game to our season. Really looking forward to it. I've been super impressed looking over the VODs from Nova specifically. Obviously, they've got some great players, Delphi, Truth, and starting all over to name a couple. That's actually not a couple, that's a few. Just, nomenclature.
I know how you do it across the pond, I'm not going to criticize you for that. You spell a lot of words wrong.
Yeah, but a few is then 3+. So technically, but we often in like British sort of, I think, colloquial terms, we say a couple, and that can mean up to like 60,000. So
I think when a population is on an island for too long, things like that happen. So yeah, I can't really judge you for that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't have a comeback to some sort of island-based insult, to be honest.
Oh boy, we're into this one right now. I'm excited to see what Starting can put together. He's got the Celeste. We saw a game recently where he just ran over his opponents within like the first 8 minutes of the game, like just literally running at them in like 2 versus 1, 3 versus 1 situations.
That sounds like Starting to me, if I'm completely honest. And yeah, okay, Celeste doesn't quite do the same kind of thing, but post-level 8, 2+ items, especially when you get that clockwork online, you can be aggressive with Celeste. You look to dictate pre-team fight spaces. You look to try and create a hard battlefield for your opponent to navigate. And I guess we should take this time, Eunice, to just kind of look over these compositions, because we're seeing a lot of these heavy ranged threat compositions coming out from teams today and over the past couple of weeks. And you're seeing that a lot from Nova here. You've got a triple threat with the Samuel, the Celeste, and also obviously Truth that is going to be on this Kestrel. And you can see here, they're also committing 2 members to a single lane, it looks like, and maybe just sharing the jungle. This combined double ranged lane with a Samuel and somebody else seems to be something that a lot of teams have been playing with.
Yeah, honestly, well, PvP's in a little bit of trouble. They'll go ahead and pull off. He's going to be okay there. Invulnerable moving in onto Erica. A little damage coming out here. Erica should be fine. Turns around with a bad mojo. PvP wants to get into it. Beating Invulnerable back in, but Pools made the rotation. Are you going to do something, guys? Nothing's going to come of that. But to your point about these power picks coming out here, a lot of times we'll see like the Samuel, the Celeste, the Kestrel, that'll be sprinkled around on both teams. To have them all 3 on one team, honestly, I don't see how they lose.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely from draft a stacked Nova team here, but what you do have to remember is there are lots of ways to actually get onto that backline, and very little ways for Nova to actually prevent that from happening, as long as you don't get caught up in a big quibble, and also you're able to reflex block your way out of the Ordained. Other than that, it's just negotiating your way around active camo stuns and also around core collapses, but you've got such good ways of diving, and I like—
You just named so many things, like—
Shush. Basically, if you jump over 60,000 bits of barbed wire, you dive under 30,000 sort of bridges laced with poison, that's how you get to the back line and deal with starting all over. What I'm really trying to say here is I like the combo of Glaive and Idris, but I did it in a really long-winded way that now makes no sense. So I'm going to revert and just say Glaive and Idris, especially Weapon Power Idris, are a good way of comboing to deal with the squishy in the backline, Humanist.
Oh, it absolutely is. I'm excited to see Glaive's buff coming out in 3.3. It's pretty strong. They're upping his attack speed. Some of the damage coming out, I think, a Twisted Stroke as well. Maybe some of the lifesteal, I'm not quite sure. There's the change on the ultimate. The taunt's back, starting! Starting's gonna be taken down his first blood. Oh my goodness, you'll never live that one down. Delphi, he's deep here. Looks like he's got Neon Fire, misses with the verdict, but the Malice hits and the basic attack is there. He'll get one for himself, so they're tied up 1-1 here as we finally get a couple kills just before the 5-minute mark.
Eco's rotated down towards that mid lane, though, and yes, okay, starting going down for first blood is not ideal, but first turret of the game, which is arguably more important in terms of overall global gold advantage, is going to sit it firmly in Nova's back pocket, and it was that duo lane where they commit that Samuel and Kestrel to the same lane and just look to bully a single lane out to get that first turret to rotate from the back of that now as well. We'll have a look down towards the bot lane. And you can see that Eric Kane just not able to deal with PvP Warrior right now, and Eco is doing a lot of man maneuvering work across the map, just making sure he's supplementing every single one of his lanes right now, Humanist.
Yeah, PvP is doing all right down here. I'm excited to see what PvP can do on this Idris. Typically, when he does, he's the kind of player that I think I'd love to see him on the weapon carries. Solar Storm coming on through, it's not going to do anything. But specifically the kind of carries that build into breaking points, because I think he has a really good eye for knowing exactly when he has enough breaking point stacks to commit. Pool getting lit up here. Truth, is he going to be able to get that? The fountain comes out. They stay alive, starting. Moving in deep into that fight is a Celeste. They'll be invulnerable, getting stunned up and taken down. Weapon buff hits the deck. As Nova want to move around and go ahead and grab that. Lightning T wants to snipe it up as well. Delphi zoning with the Malice and Verdict there. He'll go ahead and secure that for himself. A nice little play by Delphi. Now Truth moving up behind Neon Fire. Neon Fire is deep up in this top lane. A lot of actions kind of happening in every lane, and I would expect it to continue to do so with all of these picks here. No surprise, Neon Fire forced deep into the jungle. He'll try and pour it out. Look back to bottom as PvP Warrior gets taken out. That's the Fearsome Shade, and starting all over, making the rotation. They have all the damage pile up. They take him down, and this turret in danger of going down. Trash talk from Pool. Pool starting all over back. The afterburn's there. They'll be able to get a kill. That's a really nice play. One shot flies down from the top side of the map, hits onto Pool, but Erica can't really continue to do anything here.
This has been manic. This has been an absolutely manic start to the game here. It's been a bit back and forth. You'd say the small advantages are now lying in Nova's camp. I was certain they were going to set up for a Ghost Wing just then because they committed that many members to the mid lane, then rotating down towards the bottom side of the map. But with starting all over going down there, they lose their advantages that they gained in that bot side. They also lose that Crystal Trio, which is Invulnerable is going to steal away from starting.
That's a really good take.
It's a really good steal, especially, and Starting's actually gone for a Spellfire first here, just to limit maybe some of that sustained potential coming out from the Adagio.
That's even a bigger take because of the build that he's gone here.
Yes, he's not gone a sort of a heavy-hitting build from the very outset, although I would say that Spellfire is generally a good item in a lot of situations now, just because of the way that it was tweaked. I think it was update 3.2 that it was tweaked, but it was just, a super strong item in general. So, it's not a bad first item for Celeste, but obviously you're not going to hit massive supernovas at this point in time now.
Yeah, well, it'll probably be coming out a second item here rather quickly. I'd imagine Starting will continue to farm like a monster, but at the same time, I wouldn't expect the pressure to let up from Nova. And as we speak of that, there's 3 from Nova down in this bottom lane. PvP Warrior watches that turret drop down. Delphi is going to find Invulnerable over here in the jungle. Nothing comes of it. Defensive Afterburn. And Nova, they'll just take the turret and go ahead and reset their position right back into mid. Actually, Erica staying down in this jungle. This is kind of a feed situation. Erica's gonna get out with the Oblivion.
How did he survive that?
Goodness.
What an Oblivion. What an Oblivion from Delphi. Invulnerable is not done.
We should just put that into the hero spotlight. Can we get SEMC to edit the hero spotlight and just drop in Oblivion? This is your third item, how to use it. This is going to be pulled back from Eco. See if they can get the follow-up damage here as Invulnerable. He still wants Erica. Erica kiting back, putting the glaive deeper into the jungle. Trash talk down in the bottom is going to peel Delphi and starting back a little bit. Eventually, they'll find the kill onto Invulnerable, and we also lost the Kestrel as well. I think Neon Fire able to 1v1 that situation. I don't know if anyone else is going to go down here, but 6-3 advantage to Nova about 9 minutes in, and now we will have the Ghost Wing starting to be taken, but there is a lot of vision around here.
Yeah, but they'll clear it out. I'm wondering whether there'll actually be a contest coming out here, unless it's going to be like an attempted steal with a Chakram, for instance. But this should be an easy Nova secure of this Ghostwing. PvP Warrior does try to go for the Chakram steal just a little bit too late. And if we rewind to how this situation actually occurred, if you look at the vision that the Nova squad had, they had good vision around the entrances to the jungle from vision. They also had good vision in the mid side of the map, 2 scout cams on those 2 brushes that cover the river entrances to the middle lane. They knew that a lot of the Vision Gaming roster had then basically gone to clear their own jungle, knowing that they're not, if they commit 4 members to that bot side tier 1, they are not going to lose map pressure elsewhere because there's no one else creating map pressure other than the Adagio, which they can see on the map. So they basically utilized that small period of time where, honestly, quite greedily, almost every member from Vision went to commit to that bot side jungle clear, and that gave up that first turret in the that other turret in the bot lane, the first tier turret, and that resulted in that team fight, and then also gave them Ghostwing. So just from a bit of Vision play, Nova got a huge map advantage.
That's a really good breakdown. I think a lot of players, especially newer players, don't realize that so much. Down at bottom, PvP is in trouble. Erica doing a lot of damage on Vulnerables here. Can you peel? Look for the afterburn. Oh, no, you trolled yourself invulnerable. That was not the afterburn he was looking for.
And also, you're at the point in the game where this is basically the 2 items that you get on Weapon Power Baptiste to essentially sustain through every single fight possibly imaginable. The Poison Shift Breaking Point build is the standard 1-2 item for a Weapon Power Baptiste. Then you pretty much go tank after this, and you can feel pretty comfortable taking on most people in fights. You stack up the Breaking Point nicely because you get the excess weapon power during your Reap passive, and obviously the extra sustain on top of the sustain that you already get from Reap means that you become a very, very tanky and very, very sustain heavy melee weapon power carry indeed. And Erica, at this point in time, is going to feel pretty comfortable now committing to some tier 2, tier 3 defensive items. Unless he just wants to go like literal balls to the wall and pick up some more weapon power.
Stuck to the wall. Can't peel him off right now because Nova's in a great position. One shot flies down, it's not going to connect. Who's going to be the first to die here? Invulnerable drumming down low. He's going to get the afterburn back. Just get starting into maybe a bit better of a position. Oh, Solar Storm from starting. Click, click. Boom. Bada boom comes in. Blocked off. Not a big deal. They'll take down the Scarf as Delphi moves down the river. Eco finds the stun. This should be Neon Fire dropping as well. Double kill for lone Delphi himself. Now PvP Warrior can only run away. This hero's decent at running away. Eco swing and a miss on that. Forced accord. And that's going to be the ace coming on through. Invulnerable just respawning right there. Not able to respawn fast enough. And Nova, a massive team fight victory. And even if you look up to the top here, Scoundrel, Truth just hammering in the top turrets as well.
And Truth, despite not being in that fight, actually had some of the biggest impact with his 1-shot, 1-kill. He took the Scarf so low that Scarf felt too scared at going close to Baptiste to try and burst him down. He was too low, didn't feel like getting in range, and immediately had to back off from that fight. And if you really look at the overall damage output right now from Vision, a lot of it is coming from Scarf specifically, because he is matching the item spikes from starting. Oh my god! Absolutely deleted. Dragon is on the menu for breakfast right now for Nova as they take out Lightning, as I was just talking about him.
Classic English breakfast of dragons and sausages. Beans on the side. Nova, I guess a little bit more than they were ready to eat right there. They're going to go back on off, maybe take a little bit out of the jungle, or a little Ghostwing. I mean, this is an easy take to finish the game, right? They're not going to force it here. So this squad showing a bit of patience, and that's something that honestly is pretty scary to see.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this is resulted because of the global objective snowballing. Like, a lot of teams, we've seen it from Slimy Salamanders, we're seeing it now from Nova. They commit that duo lane very early on to just punish a 2v1 matchup. And because now the turrets are easier to take, because at 4 minutes their defenses drop instead of 6, you just commit to a duo lane for 4 minutes of the game while clearing the jungle together. And then you basically guarantee yourself a first turret in the game as they catch out again.
Yeah, Vision Gaming's going to get taken down very hard here. Nothing that Lightning T can do at all. They just got rounded up here. Let's see, Nova or a team of sheepdogs. I can't really tell. Delphi in the Drifting Dark. I'll let that Malice and Verdict start to hammer on home. Doesn't even have to follow up on it because Vision are so scared right now. Or you know, just so much respect. That's the way I like to frame that one. Coming out as they know that Nova can take them down very easily. Look, another Drifting Dark. Cooldowns galore. Delphi drifting on into the base here of Vision Gaming. Vision falling apart. All of their base turrets are down. They've lost 2 armories now, as that one's going to go ahead and down. Just the top armory coming out here. Oblivion off the mark, but another drifting dart coming out. They move on forward to jump in from PvP. He knows now's the time. You gotta do something, PvP. The fountain comes out. He stays alive. Scarf going in a little bit too far. Starting's able to stay alive. They've only lost 1. They can still turn it around. Come on, get the kills. You can do it. Take Nova down. Nova. They're not gonna lose anybody right now. These guys playing phenomenally. 14 minutes in, looking to take down this Vein Crystal. All armories are depleted, and Nova will put Vision Gaming into the dirt here. What a game from these guys. Little taunt coming out of starting there at the end. Well deserved. Not the biggest KDA that we've seen out of starting, but a dominant performance. 17-3, 14 minutes in.
Yeah, and completely blinded Vision Gaming with the way that they played this. Again, it's something that we saw from Slimy Salamanders, the global objective snowball from committing 2 members to a single lane to get that first turret. You then rotate off that first turret to get another turret into a global objective like Ghost Wing. And by the time you've stacked up that kind of advantage, the good teams will then push their vision control. They'll exploit poor positional errors from their enemies, and you'll get these 14-minute games. Just when we thought we had the meta figured out, these teams are bringing different metas and again starting those very early snowball processes which lead to these really quick games. Good stuff from Nova.
Starting the snowball.